Hey everyone, it's good to be back after an extended summer break. I hope everybody is doing well. Tonight we're going to be looking at Sheikh Uthman and his continued attempts to get dodgy conversions to Islam. Now, this guy constantly claims that he's getting loads of people to convert. And he was in London a couple of months ago and he did one of these dodgy, what I would call shotgun shahadas. It's the most unconvincing thing I've ever seen. Let's take a look.
I believe that there is something up there, but I just
Right.
don't know anymore.
Gotcha. But think about that,
I
right?
believe that there's a God though, but I
Okay,
just
good.
don't know anymore. But I was raised a Catholic.
I got you.
Yeah.
At least
But I still want my son to believe in
it's
God.
yours. But it's really
This is
quick.
for my son actually. His dad has started making more time to teach him
Okay,
about
good.
the religion.
Nice.
And he's now interested, and now he's saying he's not Catholic no more, he's Muslim. But
Good.
like,
Right. So the detail is here, this woman used to be Catholic. She was raised Catholic. At some point had a Muslim partner who she had a kid with. And he's now seemed to be learning the father's previous religion and is claiming to be a Muslim. So Uthman is going to jump on this as a chance to try and force this woman to believe that she's a Muslim.
you know, to convert to Muslim, you have to do things. You
Yeah.
can't just say you're Muslim. So this will be the first start, won't it?
Yeah.
Educate
So your son hears the Quran for him. That's great.
Yeah.
But just for yourself, you do believe there's one God, right? A greater power that created us.
I
That,
believe that there's a God.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
I just
Well,
don't know
that's-
if it's the God that I was raised to believe in.
right. In the Catholic religion, for example, where you were raised, they believe there's a Trinity, right? That God is three, right?
Yeah,
But that doesn't really make sense, right? I mean, if the
Yeah, so one trick pony here, Sheikh Uthman, as usual, just jumps on the whole thing of the Trinity. I mean, this is his main argument that he's got. Again, I mean, even when he's not talking to Christians, he seems to bring this up. So, but yeah, I mean, he does this same spiel over and over again. But we're just going to skip past it because I've covered this enough times.
Mother is being worshipped and the Holy Ghost is being worshipped, who did Jesus worship? Did he worship himself? Right?
Exactly. It's a bit debatable, isn't it?
doesn't
That's
make
why
sense.
it's
That's why
you question every religion though. For me, I question
Excellent.
every religion.
You should. In Islam, we believe there's one creator. He's not a man, he's not a woman, doesn't have wife, doesn't have kids. He's above all that, right?
Yeah.
He
Yeah, he seems to have certain body parts, though, doesn't he? So it's not exactly coherent.
is the one that's always been there, would always be there. He didn't just make us, he created everything. He doesn't kill his son. If he wants to forgive mankind, he forgives. He's that
Yeah, if he wants to forgive mankind, he forgives. Except for if you're not a Muslim, then you're going to hell.
merciful. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does.
Okay, good. I mean, I'm open to anybody questioning, but it's always good to think through things, right? Now that God created us, we didn't come by ourselves. I mean, we're way complicated. How eyes and ears, more complicated than any computer, all of that, right? But then God would
Again, these terrible arguments. Wow, we got a complicated biological structure. Therefore, that proves God somehow. I mean, it's just so weak.
give us some kind of guidance, right? Like if you buy a phone, it comes with some instructions, right? If you buy a laptop, it comes with a little booklet, what to do, what not to do, hazards and all that, right?
Yeah.
So it only makes sense that a great intelligent creator would design something so complex as you, so perfect in balance, liver, kidney, heart, functions, amazing, right?
Yeah, but they're not perfectly balanced. I mean, I've done this before with Uthman. He doesn't seem to understand that there's plenty of genetic diseases that people get that kill them or severely impact on their quality of life by having subpar internal organs, etc. So this is not perfectly balanced. We are quite a fragile system that can break down in all sorts of ways. So again, this is a terrible argument, but we will get on to his attempts to push her into a conversion.
But then he would give us some kind of instructions like, okay, don't kill, don't steal, don't drink, don't do.
Again, though, but what is the instruction manual? You mentioned before this idea, oh, yeah, well, if you buy a TV set or something, then it's going to have, or a mobile phone, it's going to have like an instruction manual. What's the instruction manual from Allah? The Quran, which is the most confusing, contradictory, boring, immoral kind of tome that I can remember ever reading. There's not a great instruction manual for life or anything else.
This,
Yeah.
right? Makes sense. And that instructions, I'm sure you would agree, would be in the sense of prophets that would come. They were from humans, so they could engage with us. And
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Let's send a bunch of people throughout history with garbled messages, supposedly from a god, that often contradict each other. That is the best way to get Allah's supposed message to us. You really think that's the best possible way? I mean, even now, surely just sending us a PDF would be a better job than sending it to a bunch of Bronze Age prophets.
They would bring that message, like Moses, Abraham, Jesus, Muhammad, peace be upon all of them. Their message was the same. Worship one God. Don't worship idols. Idols didn't make you, right? Don't kill each other. Don't rape. Don't steal. Live a good life. Live healthy, right? That makes sense. But what happened?
Yeah, I mean, these are all the bits that the Quran and Islam in general has lifted out of Judaism and Christianity. But that doesn't mean it's the same message. It just means that's what you've cannibalized and then added your own shit to.
These people come and change it up.
Yeah,
right?
their interpretation of it.
Exactly.
Of course, that's why
So-
there's so many different religions now.
So if you look at Jesus, he would put his forehead on the ground and pray, right? But Christians today, they pray to Jesus instead of praying to the God that Jesus prayed to,
Yeah, it's a bit confusing, isn't it?
right? Wouldn't it make sense to worship the God that Jesus worshipped, right?
Wasn't Jesus man though?
Of course he
Yeah,
was.
exactly. So how can you worship? Wait, anyways, we're not going to get into
I
this 'cause
agree.
it's cold
No,
and
no.
everything.
But that's
why
great.
I don't practice my religion so much. I'd rather
But,
not.
but you have the Muslim belief already.
But
You just said Jesus was a man.
My son.
Do you hear that? You have the Muslim belief already. Yeah, only in your mind, mate. It's not actually in reality. And as you'll see as this video goes on, she's kind of humoring him in a lot of ways. But she flip-flops between saying she believes in God to actually she wants to believe it, but she can't for various reasons. I would say at best, this woman is agnostic and just humoring him. I'd say more likely she's probably an atheist who might still trying to be clinging on to this idea of a God. She's certainly not a Muslim.
Dad was Muslim and I was with him for 13 years.
Wow.
So obviously I learned a little bit about his culture.
Yeah.
We learned about each other.
Forget his culture.
No, but he's Muslim.
But
so
your
he's talking about-
belief,
Yeah, so there you go. So she was with some Muslim guy for 13 years, had a son. This is the only real reason that she's over there getting like a Quran for a son, because he's obviously shown some interest in the religion. But she has got no interest in herself. She's just trying to be polite because this is what Uthman does. He just grabs people off the street and basically tells them they're a Muslim.
there's one God.
I believe that there's
Jesus
something,
was a
yeah.
man,
Yes, of
right?
course.
He
was
brought a
in
message. He was a
flesh.
good man
Yes.
who came to guide people towards the one God.
Yes.
You're Muslim.
No, I'm not Muslim.
Yeah, you are.
But
That's
I
the
believe
Muslim.
I mean, he's so fucking deluded. Oh, you got to love him for his, the ballsiness of this. He just thinks like every dodgy salesman. If I just keep reinforcing the fake message, if I just, I don't know, it's like a neuro-linguistic programming. I'll just keep repeating it to you until you believe it. But it does not work in this video.
I believe in something.
Okay, so you believe in one God.
I believe that there is a God.
And
yes.
you believe Jesus, Muhammad, Abraham were not gods, they were prophets.
They're prophets, yeah, they were brought yes, yeah.
You are.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're getting human here. You slipped in Muhammad amongst all the previous prophets and stuff that she may have believed in when she was a Christian, and you just tried to slip that in there, hoping that she's, just going to skip over it and say, yeah, I believe. But that's really not honest. Obviously, she doesn't believe in Muhammad.
You're Muslim.
No, because the Bible.
How are you not?
The Bible and Islam, we believe in similar things.
No.
Similar.
The Bible doesn't say that Jesus was as what you're
He
saying.
was the Son of God, but he was still
Right?
flesh. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
okay.
he was
So
flesh.
now let's take it back as Son of God.
Yes.
Do you mean literally like God had?
No, that's what they say in the Bible.
But that's
But
wrong,
he came
right?
down onto earth with blood and a heart
right.
and everything.
But the Bible calls many people sons. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean they're physical kids of God,
No.
right?
But if we go into the Bible, it actually contradicts everything. It
Yes.
contradicts itself.
You're right.
Of
You're
course.
Muslim.
No, she just obviously realizes that she doesn't believe in Christianity. That doesn't make her a Muslim by default. That means that she's no longer really a Christian. So as I say, she kind of flip-flops back and forward between these things, but she just said there she believes that the Bible is a contradiction. So therefore, she's not really a Christian in my view. She's just humoring you. But that does not make her a Muslim. That is, if anything, that's going to make her agnostic or atheist.
No, I'm not.
You're Muslim.
I believe in
Look.
something.
If you say the Bible contradicts, you don't believe Jesus is God, you believe he was a man, he believed he was a prophet, you're Muslim.
I mean, I really should have gone through and counted how many times he says, "You're Muslim," because he must have racked up a dozen times already, and we're only like 1/3 of the way through this.
You're funny.
No, I'm serious. Okay, what's the
I love that. You're funny. Yeah, she just laughing at you. You're a clown, mate.
difference between your belief and a
good
Muslim
friend,
belief?
My good friend, who I was with yesterday, she said you can't just be Muslim. You have to do these 5 things,
Oh, no, okay, look.
something like
The
that.
first thing.
Then she said that my son is just a believer now.
No, she's wrong.
No.
Let me tell you. First thing to be a Muslim is you say the shahada.
Yeah.
Right? You profess.
So
you
there's
say
one thing.
you say I believe
Yeah.
that there is only one God worthy of worship. I testify to that. and I testify that Muhammad is a messenger and slave, not a god, but a messenger, right? Once you say that, you're Muslim. When you become Muslim, then yes, we need to pray, fast, give the charity, go for Hajj if you can, fast Ramadan. Those are things we do, but the belief is the first thing.
Yeah, and the point you noticed there, just like Hamza Redbeard has done it in previous videos where he's doing his like dodgy attempts at conversion. There's nothing in here about let's learn what the religion actually says before you say the shahada. He's of the same school of like, just say the shahada, you're a Muslim, and then we'll sort out all the details, like slavery and child marriage and stuff. Oh yeah, we'll do that after you've already committed.
So you have the belief. You just told me there's only one God. You just told me Jesus was a man, a prophet sent to guide. Muhammad was a prophet. Abraham was a prophet to guide people, but they're not gods, right? So you're not Catholic, you're not Christian. You believe the Bible has contradictions.
I don't believe I'm anything anymore. But I would.
See, she doesn't believe she's anything anymore. That basically says that she is atheist, agnostic at best.
I'd like to believe that
let me ask you this. What is the difference between your belief and my belief as a Muslim? I believe there's only one God. I believe Jesus...
I mean, there's a shit ton of differences in your beliefs. I mean, we don't go through it, but one of the things that he hasn't even mentioned as to be a Muslim, you have to accept Muhammad as the final messenger of Allah. Has he mentioned that at all? No, because she knows if he says that, she's going to say, well, no, I don't believe that.
Muhammad or prophets.
No, you're right. You are right.
So that means your belief is that of a Muslim.
For me, I'll leave it on this note. When my mum died nearly 10 years ago, I lost my faith in everything.
Gotcha.
Okay, but I got to believe in something because I've got to teach my son that there is something other than this just sad world.
Exactly.
Right, so there, again, the bigger emotional truth has kind of come out there, isn't it? Obviously, she's been through some terrible tragedy with her family, but she's looking for some way to instill, I don't know, maybe some hope or some moral guidance or something. And she, the only source she probably knows is the religion she was brought up with. So therefore, she's trying to encourage that. And I can understand that impulse, but that doesn't make her a believer. That just means that she's like, oh, well, I've got to give him something to get through life. So is that really a convincing convert to Islam, someone who says that?
But now, today, you do believe there's a God, a higher power that created
but
us.
every now and then I still question it.
Look.
Like all the time, to the point where you already said that you don't really believe it.
The devil whispers in everybody's ear to make us question. But just think about this. Look at how complex.
I love that, right? He just says the devil whispers in your ear to make you question everything. And then at other points in the video, he says things like, oh yeah, as a Muslim, you should be questioning everything. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Which is it? He's such a fucking contradictory wally.
Your body is. Look at how detail-oriented.
No, I do believe that something had to create this place. I don't believe it was science.
There you go. Science only observes things.
Science does not observe things. Oh my God. Science is a process that you use to try and understand the natural world around you. Science itself doesn't do anything. You do something with the scientific method.
Create. Allah creates. Right? When you pray, I mean, everybody lives and dies. I mean, you can't pray and be like, my mom should never die. That's life. But when you pray, there is a creator that listens to your prayer. How many times in life were you been in hardship?
When you see people suffering, and you see loads of people suffering, then you question your faith.
But no,
and
you shouldn't. Let me tell you.
I love that. No, you shouldn't. So if life is full of suffering and God is supposed to be merciful, you shouldn't question that. Great advice.
In this world, we're going to suffer. In this world, we're going to be tested. This isn't the end. The end is the hereafter, right?
Well, surely the hereafter is infinity, so how would that be an end? I mean, you are incoherent on every point.
When you were born, did you get a guarantee that you will never see a hard day?
That is what I question.
What?
That is what I question. What you just said there, that is what I question.
Think about this, right?
I find it hard to believe. I want to, though, because I want to teach my son that there's something after this.
So let's talk about it. Go ahead. What do you find hard to believe?
I find it hard to believe that after this, that you don't just go into the ground and you don't die.
Now think.
Right, so there, she just said it again. She finds it hard to believe that once you die, you just don't go into the ground and that's it. This really sounds like a believer.
But that is since my mom died.
But let me tell you, okay? Now, before you were born in this world, were you in the womb of the mother?
Probably.
Right? I'm assuming, right? Like,
what do you mean before you were born in this world? The womb of the mother is still in this world. You're acting like it's a completely different dimension of reality or something. No, it's all still within this universe.
You've had a child. So there's a time that your son was in your stomach, like in your womb, right? At that time, could that son imagine a world like this with glass and trees and people. You couldn't. But the world existed, right?
So fucking what? How is that a point?
Just because you couldn't see it doesn't mean it didn't exist. And if a prophet, for example, from this world came into the womb, just an example, and told that fetus that someday you will die from this life. In 9 months, this life will finish. Right now you have liquids in your lungs, you will go into the world, you will breathe. Right now you get fed through a tube, you will eat with your mouth. It would be very hard to imagine. Right now,
yeah, well, it'd be pretty pointless as well, since a fetus doesn't have the capacity to understand language.
it's only 9-month life, you're going to live 70, 80, 100 years, right? So just like that, when a prophet tells us about the hereafter, it is difficult. But those prophets have...
It's not about being difficult, it's about what evidence have you got for it, and the answer is none.
Miracles. The Quran is a miracle. The splitting of the moon of the prophet is a miracle.
I was great.
The splitting of the moon, I mean, this is how weak Uthman is. The first thing he goes to say that the Quran is a miracle is the splitting of the moon, which is the dumbest miracle claim, I think, in all religion.
My mom was very holy, right, Irish woman, and I was raised in a Catholic school. And even every lesson I would have as a child to an adult, I questioned everything.
Good.
So no, but I question every religion. I'm just
Good.
like one of these ones where
Good.
I try and...
Good.
Yeah, so there you go. And, you know, I've got a similar experience. I also went to a Catholic school. I was raised Catholic, and I was questioning everything from an early age. And by the time I was 13, I was an atheist. So it's clear that she's probably been a non-believer for a very long time. As I say, she's clung onto it for whatever social reasons, or she thinks it will be helpful for raising her kid and stuff like that. And I can understand all their those kind of impulses. I'm not insulting anyone for that. You know, it's understandable, the human need that's going on there. But she's clearly come to the conclusion that it's not persuading her. And you shouting, "You're a Muslim," 50 times in her face is not going to convince her either.
Yeah.
In Islam, we don't believe in blind faith. Question.
Are you fucking kidding me? You don't believe in blind faith. That's all you have.
Yeah.
Think. Use your brain. But that's how you will get to be a Muslim. See, now think about this. If this life was it, then that life in the stomach would not have been there. That was one stage of existence.
That makes no sense at all. You're saying that if there isn't an afterlife, we couldn't have existed as a fetus before we were born. Again, that is just so incoherent. I mean, it's so incoherent, it's not even bonkers. It's just so stupid.
Before that, you were a soul, right? You know, when somebody dies, they still have a
Yeah, demonstrate you were a soul. That's your claim. You can't demonstrate it.
body. What's missing? You still have an eye, you still have a heart, you
Yeah,
still
they
have a
say
brain.
that a couple of pounds go missing because your soul
Yeah,
leaves.
there you go, right? So when you die,
Yeah, just to address that, she talked about, you know, a couple of pounds are going missing. I think she's relating to, there was this experiment done at the in the early 20th century, 1901, I think. It was this American physician who claimed that he had determined the weight of a soul. He was doing kind of experimentations on patients who were dying in nursing homes. Now, it's absolutely pseudoscientific bunk. And I can't believe that she's brought that up. And he's also like, well, I can believe he would immediately agree with it because he believes in anything that's going to support his, you know, his ideology. But there's absolutely no basis to this thing of the soul has a weight or anything. It was completely rejected by the scientific community as being absolutely unscientific. It was like half a dozen people. He did it on a tiny sample. It's never been repeated. It's just a load of rubbish. So just in case anyone was wondering what that was referring to.
the soul goes. The body has
But
everything.
this is also debatable because science tries to say in there that this is not true.
Okay, so now science.
Yeah, well, it's not even that it's not true. It's just there's no evidence to back up these claims, and there's no reason, therefore, to believe them.
Can then tell us.
But then if you weigh the body before and after death, it changes.
You've already answered.
Yeah, but again, I mean, this is a bit complicated, but it depends what you're dying of for a start. I mean, if you're dying in something that's going to cause you to be sweating profusely, then you might lose some natural moisture from your body as you're dying, and that could be easily interpreted as your soul's going away. And in in the experiment I was talking about with this American physician guy, he some of the patients actually, some of the weight went and then returned again. So what does that mean? They got reincarnated back into their own body? I mean, this is just all horseshit.
Yeah, no, I know.
So you believe there is a soul, right?
Of course.
Right. So if you believe there's a soul.
Yeah, she's saying, of course, but as I say, she's contradicted that 3 or 4 times in this. So again, I think this is just more under the pressure of Uthman, keep pushing her, keep pushing her. I don't think she believes it at all, based on all the other things she said so far.
If you believe there is a soul, then that means when your physical body dies, your soul goes on.
I would like to believe that.
That's the belief.
Well, even that's an assumption that you can, I mean, even if you had a soul, what's to say that it doesn't like leave your body and then just get obliterated, even if there was such a thing? So again, I mean, it's just assumption after assumption.
But for me, it's hot.
Why?
I don't know. I just was a
No,
pessimistic person.
Yeah, again, for her, it's hard because there's no fucking evidence for it.
Think back to the womb of the mother.
Yeah.
Right? If that child says, it's hard for me to believe this world exists,
Yes.
does that mean the world didn't exist?
No.
It did. Just like that.
Again, it's a stupid analogy that doesn't apply. I don't know why he keeps going back to this, person in the womb or whatever. I mean, that's all part of the same reality we're living in. We can actually, see the fetus with the sonograms or whatever they are to determine they're there. You're acting as if like the fetus in the womb is somehow like this mysterious thing that we haven't worked out and is as ethereal as your claim for a soul is. No, we can demonstrate the fetus is there.
Heaven exists, hell exists, the day of judgment will come, death will come, whether you believe in it or not. But now the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he couldn't read or write, right? The book that you have, how could he come up with a book that for 1400 years nobody's been able to challenge?
Except it's been challenged millions of times by millions of people, and that's a complete lie.
How can he know about salt water and seawater touching and not mixing? How could he
Because that's not actually true that they don't touch or mix.
know about the planetary bodies being in an orbit? How could he know?
Again, we've had telescopes since the ancient Greeks and before looking at the planets. Again, where's he getting his crap from? Plus, also, I don't remember him specifically talking about planetary bodies moving. I think there's some crap in the Quran about the sun and the moon supposedly going in orbit, but then that's a bit of a corruption of the language. So even that's dodgy to claim that.
About the past that he didn't know about.
It does get your mind thinking, doesn't it? It does. It does.
Yeah, it gets you thinking, I really wish I hadn't been stopped in the street by Uthman because this is a waste of my time.
You know about the splitting of the moon? In the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, I have a video. My name is Uthman Ibn Farooq.
I was going to ask what your name is. What is it?
Uthman.
Uthman.
Yeah.
I'm Kate.
Nice to meet you, Kate. Uthman. Uthman.
Okay.
Ibn, I-B-N, F-A-R-O-O-Q. You can look it up with moon splitting. I have a video which talks about this miracle that was witnessed by tons of people.
It wasn't witnessed by anyone.
Pen and paper, can you write it on? I just broke my phone, I'm not going to remember.
No
that.
problem. I'll write it down for you on the Quran.
To actually look.
But you do believe there's one creator, and you
I do
believe
believe
that
in a higher
people
power,
should
yes.
not worship anything else, right?
No idols, no singers.
No idols, no
That's
British
the same as my
idol.
commandments. We was taught the same as you.
But
Not to worship
but
anyone but
Catholics
God.
worship
Yeah,
saints.
it's a bit different.
No, they don't worship saints. He's got to do this straw man every time. As I say, I mean, I'm an ex-Catholic, I'm an atheist, so I mean, I haven't got a dog in this fight, but it's just I know this is factually inaccurate, having been raised in that religion, that Catholics don't worship saints. They pray to them to intercede on God's behalf, I think is a more accurate way of saying it, but they don't worship them like God.
But
they do worship. I used to go to a Catholic church, so I know.
I get that.
No, you don't know shit. It's just part of your propaganda.
Right?
But I never did.
You
like
did
my
it.
mum,
Because your fitra, your inner was Muslim to begin with.
I don't know, but my mum, she was.
Oh, here we are. We're going back to the picture now. We're going back to the, everybody starts as Muslim anyway. So, I mean, yeah. If you're going to go to this level, you may as well just skip all the rest and just say, hey, you were born Muslim and that makes you a Muslim now.
What is it, St. Patrick?
Yeah,
Even though
St. Patrick is one of them.
He's not the saint of Ireland.
And what do the Ten Commandments say?
Yeah, don't worship humans. Yeah, it's so contradicting, right?
Exactly.
But when you're a
But
child,
Islam
you
is
don't
not.
think about this. When you become an adult, then you're like, hold on a minute, my mom taught me this, but this doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
This makes sense. Yeah.
See, yeah, exactly. That's what she just said. Yeah, she was taught this as a kid and then she got to an adult and it didn't make sense to her. So she obviously doesn't believe any of this stuff now.
But Islam makes sense.
Yeah, so this is why my son's dad is teaching me. I can't teach him.
Yeah, again, so he asked her to say, yeah, so it makes sense now. And she just dodges the question because, again, she's trying to be polite and I appreciate that. But a message for anyone who ever catches Uthman on the street, you have no obligation to be polite to him.
You can, because you're going to learn it.
To be honest, right now, I'm not in the right mental space to do it. One day maybe, but right now, no.
Yeah, so like Uthman has basically driven her into an even worse mental space now with all his rhetoric. Brilliant.
Listen, when you have the hardest time, that's the best time to turn to God. If you're
Yeah, when you're most emotionally vulnerable and least likely to be thinking critically, that's the best time to turn to Allah and the lack of evidence for his existence.
If your mental state isn't good, then this is the time to turn to fix it. When you submit yourself to your creator, I swear by Allah, I swear by God, that when you submit, Allah will make the way easy for you. Allah will guide you. Allah will make every hardship easy for you. But this is the time that you need to submit yourself to your creator.
And how do you do that then?
Easy. First thing we say, when we do a witness thing, that I bear witness that nobody should be worshipped except one God.
Yeah.
And I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger.
Yeah.
That I'm going to give you a Quran, we're going to give you some resources, you're going to read up, you're going to ask questions, question everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, so and this is it. This is why I call it a shotgun shahada, because it's like, you know, the old stereotype of the shotgun wedding. If a guy got a girl pregnant, it was like the father basically marched to the wedding altar to kind of force them to get married. And this is what this shahada feels like. It's basically she feels trapped because she's too polite just to walk away. So the only way to get him to stop is to say, all right, I'm going to go through this stupid little ritual with you. And he thinks that this is a convincing conversion. And I think this is why so many Muslims use this propaganda, because I think they almost half believe it themselves, these Dawa guys, when they say, oh yeah, there's hundreds of people converting. It's like, well, if this is the classic example, and in my view it is, because I've seen, particularly with Uthman, so many of them like this in his videos, then the actual rate of real conversion, what I would think is something convincing, is basically zero.
We want you to,
without a doubt, you know,
but the first step is the shahada.
Okay.
You ready?
No, I don't know what it is. Tell me.
Okay, I'm going to say it.
I don't even know what it is. See, I just think that's brilliant, because he is coming across as kind of quite creepy now. It's kind of like, yeah, what are you getting me to sign up to here? You know, am I going to end up in a cult? And yeah, in a way you are.
I'll say it in English. You say it with me, okay? I bear witness.
I bear witness.
There is none worthy of worship.
There is none worthy of worship.
Except Allah.
Except Allah.
And I bear witness.
And I bear witness.
That Muhammad.
That Muhammad.
Is the servant.
Is the servant.
And messenger of Allah.
And messenger of Allah.
Allahu Akbar. You're Muslim.
And this is all he wants. He just wants this for the video, because he knows that all of his followers are just going to probably skip ahead to that. Even if they watch the rest of it, they're not going to have the kind of critical thinking to think, this doesn't really sound too convincing. The fact that she keeps saying that she doesn't actually believe in God. You know, she grew up and decided that it didn't make sense. But this is what it's for. It's a pure propaganda purpose. And that creepy grin on his face is, in my view, an acknowledgement that this is all he's doing it for. And he doesn't really believe this is a proper conversion.
Or do Arabic. Do it with me. Okay, I'm going to say it. You say it with me. Okay?
No, I'm going to sound like an idiot.
Don't worry about it. You're going to sound wonderful, okay? Ashhadu.
Yeah, don't worry, my dear. You are not going to sound like an idiot when you're talking to Uthman. He will always sound like the stupid one in the conversation.
Ashhadu.
La
La
ilaha
ilaha
illallah. Illallah.
illallah.
Wa
Wa
ashhadu
ashhadu
anna
anna
Muhammada
Muhammada
abduhu
abduhu
wa rasuluhu.
wa rasuluhu.
Allahu Akbar. You said it perfect. Excellent. Now call your son and tell him we're both Muslim.
But yeah, I can't, because I broke my phone yesterday,
Okay.
but I was just with him.
That is brilliant. That is like, we're virtually done on this video, but I love that. Like, he's saying, call your son. And she's basically like, she's coming up with the excuse of like, as if somebody had asked her out, saying, she's like, oh no, you know, I can't tonight. I'm washing my hair. She's like, oh no, I broke my phone. I can't call my son. I mean, that was just an obvious way to just try and say, look, I'm not going to do that shit, mate, because this is all just being fast. But what a great way to end on it.
Right, no, I just left him. He only lives in White City. But he's come back to me tomorrow.
So tomorrow
I'll give
when
him
you see him,
his Quran, I'll leave it on his bed.
tomorrow, I'm going to give you a Quran for you as well.
Yes, yeah.
Tomorrow when you see him, tell him we're both Muslim. And you're going to be on a spiritual
He's
journey
be like,
together.
Lion.
I'll send the video to you, don't worry, right? Now you are on a journey together. Tonight, when you go home, take a shower, cleanse yourself, and pray to the one creator. Thank God for guiding you. And say, I submit myself, my creator, the one who created me, the one who created the universe, the one who gave me life, I submitted. Show me the right way. Guide me, give me peace, fix my mental state, fix my worldly state.
Good Lord, really does go on, doesn't he? I think it's just a little bit left on this.
Fix my spiritual state, Allah will guide you.
And you think he can do that?
Of course, I've seen it myself in my own life.
I love that. You think you could do that? I mean, every step of the way, this is just so unconvincing.
If you knew my story, you'd be shocked. It's online. You can look it up later, right? But
Yeah, I've read your, or sorry, I've watched your story. It is a joke. He basically like acts as if he's like the biggest gangster in the world, and like he was surviving these gangster wars, and he was this big drug dealer or some such shit. He's some combination of like The Godfather and Scarface or something. I don't know. This is hilarious.
Allah guides people, and Allah brought you here. I'm not from here. I'm from the U.S. I'm not even supposed to be here. My flight.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I really wish that the UK government would agree that you shouldn't be here as well, because it's just annoying when you show up doing your propaganda here, as if we haven't got enough creeps like you who are already doing this Islamist nonsense. So, yeah, you know, I'm hoping this will be your last visit.
Got me some stuck.
Oh
right?
no!
But it was for this that Allah brought us here.
Yeah.
Right. Here are gifts for you, and if you have.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, it's Sheikh Uthman doing his usual nonsense, and to anyone with even a single functioning brain cell, you're going to look at that and just think this is just basically the most unconvincing conversion that I'm ever going to see, unless you watch another Sheikh Uthman video. But yeah, this kind of fuels this propaganda that there's like thousands of people in England and millions of people in America and millions of people in France all converting to Islam. No, they're not. At best, you're getting a small handful of people, which is normally because they happen to like fall in love with a Muslim, so they'll change religion. And that's about it, really. There is almost no one, as far as I can see, that's truly convinced by this stuff. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it all. Sorry it's been so long since I've been away. I've got a lot of stuff to get through. We're going to be, hopefully the next video will be looking at Mohammed Hijab and his directorial debut. I will be talking about the you know, a lot of the kind of chaotic stuff that's been happening in England with the riots and stuff, maybe a bit on the election. Again, I'm not going to get heavy into the politics, but I just want to give my views on some of the stuff that's going on for anyone who's interested. So yeah, there's a lot to cover. Also, hopefully I'll be doing a little bit more regular in terms of live streams as well. So I'll give you all more details. Until then, I will see you all in the next one.